Here we go. Let me get this minimized. All right, so we are now adding equal signs to our expressions, turning them into equations, all right? What we're going to do today is we're going to talk through how to solve one-step equations. This is kind of like training wheels for algebra, okay? Because you're going to learn step by step how to solve these. And I know a lot of these you can look at and mentally know the answer, but you've got to show every step. And the reason is, eventually you're going to get to the point where you're going to be solving 3- and 4-step equations, and you've got to be able to show your steps on those. So if you can't do it on one step, then you're not going to be able to do it when you get to 3- and 4-step, okay? One of the first things I want to point out to you, look at the bottom of your paper. Okay, we are going to be talking a lot about the inverse operations, okay? Inverse operations are what?
Operation inverse.
The opposites, okay? So what is my inverse operation of addition? Subtraction. Inverse operation of multiplication? Hey, and vice versa. You know, it goes back and forth, okay? So let's look first off at addition. And guys, y'all can move down here if you need to so you can see better because we're going to be doing this for a while. Okay, so looking at addition. Okay, my goal when I have an when I have an equation and I'm trying to solve it, my goal never changes. My goal is to get the variable on one side of the equal sign by itself. Now that equal sign tells me that everything is balanced. Okay? That equal sign is like making a teeter-totter balance. So if you do something to an equation on one side, you've got to do the same thing to the other side. All right? So looking at this example, first do this for me, because we don't want to start off right now with some negative numbers. Make that 3 and 8. Same thing down here. Okay, so to get x by itself, what number do I have to get rid of?
4.
4, okay? I'm always going to want to get rid of the number that is teamed up with my variable. So the number that's on the same side of the equal sign with my variable. Alright, so we're adding 4 to x, but I want to get rid of it by using the inverse operation. So what's the inverse of addition? Subtraction. So that means on both sides, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to subtract 4. Because again, equal signs show that that equation is balanced, and if I do something to one side, I have to do the same to the other. I also want you to think of your equal sign as kind of like your midline. So when you're setting your problem up, you want to make sure that you're lining up underneath the number that you're going to be subtracting or adding or whatever, vice versa. Okay. So if I gave you 4 jelly beans and then I took 4 jelly beans from you, how many jelly beans do you have?
0.
Okay. That cancels each other out. And I want you to show me that on your problem. Show me where that number cancels itself out, where it undoes the operation. So that leaves x by itself. And then what is 8 minus 4?
4.
4. So this tells me in this equation, x is equal to 4. Now, we're not quite done yet, okay? And yes, I'm going to require you to do this. You have to check your work.
Wow.
So we're going to start off by writing my equation. X plus 4 equals 8. I'm going to plug my value for x in. So 4 plus 4 equals 8. What is 4 plus 4?
8.
And that equals 8.
Wow.
So we're doing this type of algebra now?
Yes. You are solving for the value of the variable. Yes.
Why'd you cross both of those?
Right here because it undoes it. Because if I have positive 4, and take 4 away from it, I end up at 0. Well, we know the 0 property of addition means anything plus 0 is itself. So x plus 0 is
0.
x.
X.
Right. So it gets x by itself.
Wait.
So that's the whole point, is you're undoing whatever is with your variable. Like whatever's partnered with your variable, whatever number. Mm-hmm.
Is it the same thing if you have like x plus 4 equals 8?
You would have to do that 2 times.
Wow.
All right, looking at the next one. Okay, again, now we're on to subtraction. Okay, again, my goal has not changed. My goal is still to get the variable on one side of the equation by itself. So what number do I need to get rid of to get W by itself? 6, okay? Now 6 this time is being subtracted from W. So to get rid of it, I've got to do the opposite or the inverse. So the opposite or inverse of subtraction is addition. Okay? So I come to both sides, plus 6, plus 6. And see, this is where this one cancels out. Because if I have minus 6 plus 6, I'm at 0. And then I have 8 plus 6, which gives me 14.
So W equals 14.
Yeah, W equals 14. And then you go back and check it. So W minus 6 equals 8. 14 minus 6 equals 8. And yes, that's true. 8 equals 8. Yes, ma'am.
I still don't get how you got 6 under the 8.
Right here, because whatever I do to this side of my equation, I have to do the same thing to the other. Because you've got to keep it balanced. Think of your equal sign like a seesaw or a teeter-totter, you know, on the playground. If you get people sitting on both sides and you want to balance it, if I add one person to this side, what have I got to do to this side? Okay, I got to balance it out. Okay? So you got to think, if I've got even a scale, if I want it balanced and I've got 5 pounds over here and 3 over here, okay, and I take away a pound over here, it's not even. If I want them balanced, if I do something to one side, I've got to do the same to the other. Yeah.
How do you get minus 6 plus 6? Wouldn't that be 6?
No. If I do negative 6, okay, and then I add 6 to it.
I thought it's like minus 6.
Oh, no, you're good. Yes.
I still don't understand how you check your problem.
Okay, so I'm going back to my original equation. So W minus 6 equals 8. And then what I found W, I'm going to plug that in for W.
Wow.
So 14 minus 6 equals 8. And then that is truly 8. So 8 is equal to 8. Mm-hmm.
I don't get how you got the other 2.
How I got the other which one?
The other 8 in the check.
And the check.
Because it tells me 8. See, W minus 6 equals 8. 14 minus 6. That's 8. Yeah, this 14 minus 6 is equal to 8. And that one was already 8. Yeah, I'm just bringing it down every time.
And so
Yes.
if you don't get it right, you just mark it out and then
When you check it, if your answer does not equal the same down here, then your answer over here is wrong, and you need to go back and double check. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If it is subtraction, would you always add?
Yes, you're always going to do the opposite.
Okay, so it's just
Always the opposite. Mm-hmm.
How do you know which one to like put it down there for
It's always the number that's with your variable.
so with like the subtraction plus sign?
Uh-huh. So it'll be opposite, whatever number's with your variable. See, like right here, let me zoom out just a second. Okay, so we have plus 4 over here. I want to do the opposite, but I'm not using the 8. I'm using the number that's on the side with my variable. Somebody said earlier today, it's whatever number is teamed up with your variable. So that's the one you want to get rid of because you want your variable by itself. Okay, let's try a couple. We're going to go through multiplication division. and then we're going to do some together, and I think you'll see once we do some more how it works, okay? All right, so this is now multiplication, okay? Again, my goal is still the same, to get the variable by itself. Okay, I want it by itself on one side of the equal sign. So right now, to do that, we've got to get rid of our 4 because that's the one that's with my variable. So the 4 is being multiplied by y. So to get rid of the 4, we're going to do the inverse operation, which is what?
Division.
You got it.
So you're dividing 12 by 4?
Yeah, you're going to divide both sides by 4. Now remember, I don't want to draw like the division sign. I've got another way I can show division by using the fraction bar. Okay? So what happens when I do 4 divided by 4? What do I get?
4.
1. What is 1 times y?
4.
Y. Because remember, any number times 1 is itself. So if I've got 1y, that's the same as saying y. Okay, so those cancel each other out. And then I have 12 divided by 4, which is
3.
So y is equal to 3.
Okay, I got this.
So then when I check it, I have 4y equals 12. And that is 4 times 3 equals 12, which would be 12. And that is equal to 12.
What?
Yes.
Why do you have the 3 in parentheses?
Because parentheses shows multiplication, remember? And I'm glad you asked that because right now, when we move on over to division, okay, I don't want you using x for multiplication because an x may look like a variable.
Oops, dot.
I don't want you using the dot. Right now I want you using parentheses. A couple of things I want you to fix on this because I don't want our examples to be negatives. Make your negatives positives. And there we go. Just make sure because we don't want to deal with any negatives right now. You got a couple in your homework, but not bad. Okay, so again, my goal has not changed. I still want to get the variable by itself. Okay? This should be a z. All right, so what number do we need to get rid of?
7.
7. Very good. Okay? So the operation between z and 7 is now, what is this? Division. So I want to do the inverse of that, which is multiplication. Okay? And this is what I want you to use in the parentheses. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. And that's what that means. Those parentheses mean to multiply. Again, this cancels out your 7s. Z is left by itself. And 3 times 7 is... We're gonna do several together. Okay? So let's check this one. We've got z divided by 7 equals 3. 21 divided by 7 equals 3, and that is 3, which is equal to 3. Go ahead and give everybody one of those. All right, you've got your classwork/homework coming around. Don't get chatty yet because we are still recording. But also, I want to, we're going to do about 7 of these together. While we're going over this, I want you listening, and don't put your note sheet away because I'm going to have one more thing for you to write down once we go through this. When we're going over these problems, I want you listening for 3 questions that I keep asking you over and over. And we're going to see after we do these if you can tell me what those 3 questions are. Because those 3 questions are key to you being able to solve each of these equations. Okay, we're going to start on number 1. So when you get your sheet, make sure you're on the side that has addition and subtraction first. Number 1. make sure on each of these we're not only working it out to find the solution, we're going to go back and check them as well, okay? So we're doing both. The checking, it not only helps you now to make sure your answer is correct, but Monday and Tuesday what we're doing, it will help you tremendously because we're going to be plugging variables in to see if there's solutions to inequalities. Okay, so looking at number 1, first thing I want to ask, what type of equation is this? Addition. How do I undo addition?
Subtraction.
And what number do I want to get rid of?
The 6.
Absolutely. So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, that cancels this out, leaves y by itself. What is 20 minus 6?
14.
There we go. Now, when checking it, I start off with my original equation. I'm going to plug 14 in for y. What is 14 plus 6?
20.
This is a place to double check. Don't trust yourself. Just double check. Yes, ma'am.
Why can't you just do 20 minus 6?
I did. Right here. That's what I'm doing. Yep. But the problem is you've got to show each step because even though right now it's an easy one step, this is like learning how to ride your bike. We've got training wheels on right now, okay? It may seem kind of silly to do all this for like a simple problem like that, but as you continue on in math, the problems are going to get harder. And if you have this good habit of working out each step, you're going to be able to do it without a problem. Yes?
It's going to be like.
Right back there. Yes?
So
Hang on, guys. We've got a question, and some people can't hear. All right, go ahead.
So you're basically doing the opposite symbol plus the number. That's what the
Exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. What type of equation is number 2?
Subtraction.
How do I undo it? What number do I want to get rid of? Okay, so I'm going to add 10 to both sides. That cancels out. X is by itself, and it equals what?
22.
22. Fantastic. When I go to check it, start off with my original equation. I plug in 22 for X. What is 22 minus 10?
12.
Double checking just to make sure it works. Yeah.
On the addition,
Mm-hmm.
like how you cancel it out, not on the second one, how would you know how to cancel it out because it doesn't equal 0?
It will.
But if you add it to the 10, how would you
Nope. Negative 10 plus 10.
Oh.
The reason it undoes it is because you're using the inverse operation. You're doing the opposite. And that will always undo that operation. Yes?
Like the 12 equals 12 things. That almost like the stimuli flat.
No, this is just checking to make sure that this side of my equation is completely balanced with that side of my equation. Okay? All right, let's skip on down to number 6. I want to do this one with you because we are going to get a negative answer. Okay? So what type of equation is this?
Subtraction.
How do I undo it?
Addition.
Okay, what number do I want to get rid of?
5.
So I do plus 5 on both sides. Cancels that out. Okay, what is negative 10 plus 5?
-5.
Oh, you guys are rock stars.
I know, right?
Okay. Now, on this side, I think we're good on addition and subtraction. I want you to circle 11 and 12. Challenge yourself. I know you're up to the challenge. These you will get negative answers on. Okay? But just so you know, those two will be a negative answer. Yes?
Well, do we have to check ourselves?
Yes, you have to. And thank you for saying that because we forgot to check this one. So, here we go. M minus 5 equals negative 10. I'm going to plug in negative 5 minus 5. Now, think if we have a number line. Okay? And we'll try to draw right here above here. I have a number line. I'm at negative 5. When I subtract, I'm going always to the left. So if I go to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, 6, 7, 8, 9, negative 10. Okay, so that's why negative 5 minus 5 equals negative 10. So that would be negative 10 is equal to negative 10. Yes?
So when you have a negative number, it will always like put you, and then you subtract from a negative number, it will always make you go farther back.
Right.
Negatives. Okay.
Yes.
I don't get that number line with negative 5.
I'm just saying, think about if you're on a number line. You're starting here. You go back 5 places, because subtraction, we go to the left. You're going to end up at negative 10. Because remember, as you go farther to the left, it goes negative 5, negative 6, negative 7. Yeah. Don't worry so much about the negatives. There happen to be 3 on this paper, but I don't want you worried about that. Yes?
Can you do number 30 with that?
No. You got it. Okay, flip to the back side. Multiplication and division. Okay? Number 19, 2x. What is that type of equation?
Multiplication.
How do I undo multiplication?
Division.
And what number do I want to get rid of?
2.
Okay, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Again, writing it like a fraction, because fraction shows division. Cancel the 2's out. X is equal to 16 divided by 2, which is, there we go. We got to check it. 2x equals 16. This is 2 times 8, which equals 16. And 16 is equal to 16.
Do we have to write all those ways up there, or can we just write one?
What ways?
Like you say 2 times 8.
No, this is 2x equals 16. I plug in 8 for x. This is 2 times 8 equals 16, and 16 equals 16. Yes, you've got to show every step. Okay, number 20. What type of equation is it? Multiplication. How do I undo multiplication?
Division.
What number do I want to get rid of?
3.
You got it, because it's with my variable. Okay, cancel out the 3's. That leaves me with t. And guys, it doesn't matter which side of the equal sign that your variable's on, as long as you leave it by itself on one side. Because remember, that equal sign is balanced, so they can flip-flop back and forth. And what's 15 divided by 3? You got it. So then we have 15 is equal to 3 times t. I'm going to plug in t, so that's 3 times 5. 15 is equal to 15. Okay. All right. Number 21. What type of equation is it?
That's division.
That's a division. How do I solve division?
Multiply.
Absolutely. What number do I want to get rid of? 2. Fantastic. I'm going to write this one again because I don't have room to put my multiplication next to it. So k divided by 2 equals 6. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 because I want to get rid of that number right there. So that leaves k by itself, and 6 times 2 is
12.
Okay. You're doing just the opposite. So when I check it, k divided by 2 equals 6. I'm going to plug in 12 for k, and 12 divided by 2 is 6, which equals 6. All right, once you finish that problem, grab your note sheet again. We're going to write 3 questions on the back. So just flip to the back of your note sheet.
Number 21.
Yes.
If you got like the K12, how did you get like 6 when you're checking it?
Because I'm wanting to make sure that it fits into this equation. Yeah. Yes.
Does it matter on this if you're going up or down when you're doing the checking part?
What do you mean?
Okay. Like, I didn't have room to...
Oh, that's fine. If you, yeah. Okay, so, everybody good on this? I'm going to cover it up for a second. I'll open it back up in a second. Okay, I ask you 3 questions over and over and over. And here's the thing. These are 3 questions. If you ask yourself every time you are starting an equation, you will be able to solve it. What was the first question?
The first question was What is the problem?
Absolutely.
Okay, so division, adding, subtraction.
What kind of equation? Ask yourself, what kind is it? Is it addition, subtraction, multiply, and divide? Okay, what was question 2?
What number do you want to cancel?
Not quite. Almost. Hang tight. There was a question before that.
What's it called? Do you change it inverse addition or
Inverse.
How do I undo it? Okay? How do I undo that equation? And this is where you're thinking inverse operation, okay? You got to think the opposite. So if it's an addition equation, you're always going to use subtraction. If it's a multiplication, you're always going to use division, okay? And then, finally, what was my third question?
Cancel. What do you want to cancel?
Okay, what number? So what number do I want to get rid of? Okay, what number? That is not a hashtag, that is the abbreviation for number, and it is called the pound sign.
Pound. Yeah, I know.
Okay?
Call the number below.
Now, when we're talking about what number, okay, this is always going to be the one that is partnered with your variable. It will always be on the same side of the equal sign with your variable. That's the one you want to get rid of. But guys, if you ask yourself these questions each time, it should walk you through each equation. Okay?